Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-match build-up for the game against Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford. Going to be a very interesting game. Going to be a very chaotic game. God knows what to expect, which I suppose which makes it so exciting for a neutral perspective. But we are United fans, so we don't want chaos. We just want a nice, easy win, which it doesn't feel like we're going to get. But I'll dive into the lineups, Dan, and then we'll have a discussion about it. Okay. So let me just switch screens for a second. So this is the team that we are looking at. We've got Onana in net, Majraoui at right back, De Ligt and Lissandro as a partnership, Diego Dalot at left back, which is the same back four we've had for a while now, Ugarte, Bruno and Mainu as the midfield three, and then we have Garnacho, Xerxes and Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side as well. On the bench, we've got Bayern, Evans, Lindelof, Casemiro, Eriksen, Mount, Ahmad, Antony and Højlund, and Harry Maguire. It's absent from the squad because he's picked up an injury apparently. But yeah, thoughts on that team, Dan? Does it fill you with any more confidence or less confidence?
Yeah, it gives me more confidence considering the midfield we have gone with Ugarte and Maino. That was always going to be kind of a first choice midfielder, and that's kind of a future for us. But yeah, the defense is strong as always, and with Garnacho, I've already mentioned before, like we need to start Garnacho if we are to score goals because he's the guy who creates chances and he's the guy who creates chances for himself. So that's where we can, maybe we can see more of a kind of an attacking threat today from United side. But yeah, sorry for Ahmad, he was doing great, but then he has to be compensated if we have to start Garnacho there.
Yeah, the big change is you kind of looking towards midfield, aren't you? And you're like, I don't know if they've actually started a game together. Maybe
No,
Barnsley, maybe? No? Was it
this
not?
this is the first time I think. Maybe
Yeah, you might.
in the second half they have played together, but as a starting, I think this is the first time if I'm not wrong.
Interesting. So yeah, first time starting together. It's a big game to put them into. Ugarte, Bruno, Mainu. Does it not have a similar feeling that the game we played Spurs, the first one last season? Do you know when we had Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno? Do you see it going a similar way, or because you've got Ugarte in there now, do you feel a bit more safer, a bit more protection?
A kind of a same kind of strategy, but Ugarte will be kind of sitting on the back line together with the back line, and Mino could be playing the Eriksen role today.
Hmm.
And you know that he's going to be kind of a 10 playing 10 role. But yeah, Mino, I think big burden on Mino today because Eriksen has been playing good and he has been playing his spot now, at least for this game. So I think he has to be a bit controlled. I mean, could be required to come up down more often than before. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at the last game, and anyone who's just joining us, get your thoughts in on this early team news, the starting 11. If you're any more confident, like I just asked Dan, or if you're, feel a bit worried about the game in itself. But when we look at the last game, Dan, against FC20, what went wrong? What did we get wrong, or what do we need to improve in your mind?
Yeah, the major thing where we went wrong was like we didn't take our chances. So that's have been one of the key problems we have even from the last season. Like when we have like kind of a 15 kind of a chances and
Hmm.
we don't score even a single goal, it shows like it's a bit concerning. Like that finishing is not there. But with today, I think with Rashford and Garnacho, both of them kind of starting in the same lineup. I think we can see goals. We can see somebody getting end of those chances. So,
Mm.
but with Zirkzee could be playing an important role with creating chances for both Garnacho and Rashford. But yeah, from the last game, everybody knows that the only thing we lacked was most of it was the like finishing those chances. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see why you started Garnacho and Rashford. You look at the way Tottenham's wing backs, the way they almost play as like attackers, like midfield, either wingers or
Yeah.
midfielders. Like they're really, really high up. Pedro Porro and Udoga, if it's them who's starting. I'll have a look at their team in a moment. But because they leave that amount of space, similar to like what we did to City in the final, we kind of exploited City, didn't we, with that switch to Garnacho. I think you may see similar things today with that. So that doesn't surprise me at all that Garnacho's starting on the right and Rashford on the left. You've got pace to burn there in behind. And then you've got Mainu and Bruno and Xerxes all on a swivel who can just play these guys in. But my main concern is that it's not about, will they run in or will they not? That you'll get the runners in behind, but it's the execution of the pass and it's being able to do it under pressure because Tottenham play with such a high press, don't they?
Yeah, that's where I think we were talking in the previous shows as well. Like we needed Eriksen to start in this game. Personally, if you want to fit in Mino and Ugarte, then definitely Eriksen will have to be sacrificed because Bruno is not going to be dropped by Ten Hag. So yeah, but we needed kind of a Eriksen, a player who can play a Eriksen role.
Mm.
You know that how sharp he is when it comes to putting a pass through the back line, and I'm not sure who's going to play that role. Maybe Maino, but yeah, definitely we'll be lacking that portion. Maybe Bruno needs to
Mm.
play that role today as well. So yeah, that thing will be missing. But as you mentioned, like their fullbacks will be all, I mean, kind of in that attacking role most of the time. Then we need to utilize those corner spaces with Garnacho and Rashford. So they should be on their toes. But then again, we need players who are well capable of throwing in those passes. So I think today Maino and Bruno would be then playing an important role in putting the crosses behind the black line.
Steph's just put in the chat. So we have a bum midfield: Bruno, Ugarte, Mainu. So obviously the start of the names BUM. Bum in midfield. A good one, that Steph. It's creative. I like it. Lumen's in the chat, liking that as well. We got Lahil Rashid saying big up Nick. Hit the like button, people. Big up Dan and Nick. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, let us know your thoughts. They don't have Son, and we need to save that as an advantage. We're going to talk about Tottenham in about 10 minutes time. We'll get on to like Son Heung-min and their lineup and stuff. Don't worry about that. But just sticking with ours, Dan, in a minute. That back five, that seems to be the only kind of consistency that we have at the minute, doesn't it? In terms of that's going to be the back five every single game, which also helps with clean sheets and repetition and patterns and all that kind of stuff. But it's still relatively new as well. So have you seen enough from that back five for a game like today? Because this is the toughest competition they've faced so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Martinez, you always know that he's going to be a star in each and every game. Not each, I mean, at least 90% of games
Yeah.
he'll be going to start unless he throws in a tackle
Snaps
with a
his
double-footed
Achilles.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, with Delict, I think yeah, he's actually fitting in very well. I think one of
yeah.
the signings we had this season, he has been kind of the most one. I mean, with Mazraoui on the right side, these both players have fit in very well and fit
Mm-hmm.
in very quickly. I think Mazraoui with the very first game fit in well. With Delict, he took a couple of games, but now he seems like complements better with Martinez than compared to any other players. But the good point is like both of the player are more tenacious with Martinez and Delict. So you have like any runners like with Tottenham playing, though Son is not playing, but the other pacey players like Werner, if
Yeah,
they have, if they bypass that back four, we have somebody who can chase them back, which was not possible when Maguire and Lindelof were there. So we can risk it a bit to play high line. But then you have players like, with both Delict and Martinez who can cover up things. But yeah, with Mazraoui as well as Dallo, I think these four has gelled in very well. I'm not sure when Luke Shaw comes back, he'll get the place what he
yeah.
has needs. But yeah, I think this back four has been really consistent for us, though here and there one a couple of mistakes that has cost us the goals. But on contrary, if you consider everything, this back four looks pretty solid there.
Yeah, I was about on mistakes there because you rightfully mentioned that. I think the majority of mistakes, to be fair, have come from our midfielders, haven't they? You look at the FC20 game, Eriksen, his head not on a swivel, gets his pocket picked. You look at the Liverpool game, Casemiro twice and Kobbie Mainoo gets his pocket picked. I'm trying to think of other goals that we've conceded against Brighton. Brighton's just pure not defending at the back post. And just, yeah, not. So actually, you look at a lot of the goals we conceded, a lot of them are just like individual mistakes.
Yeah.
The back five, I think, has been pretty solid. I mean, someone just mentioned in the chat there. Pookie says, "Mate, we need a left back. Dalot left back has been dreadful." I won't say he's been dreadful. I think he's considering it's not his position. I think he's done a job there. If Luke Shaw was fully fit right now, I'd have Luke Shaw there personally. I think, but it's you can't have consistency, can you? Because he's never available. That's the issue with Shaw.
Yeah, also you can see like Dallo is not only playing as a left back, but also he's being utilized as
Inverting.
whenever we attack, he comes just invert side and play as a
Hmm.
midfielder load and roll with Martinez moving on the left as a left back. So
Yeah.
it kind of helps a lot, gives Ten Hag more options to kind of a shuffle here and then and try something different. And I think with Dallo coming in the middle has really helped us a lot because you
Mm.
see like when your wingers are being checked upon by the opponents, and then Dallo is kind of a lone player who just when wingers just split up the defense, Dallo just passes through from the middle, and he has a lot of space to play in. And you have seen that more often in the last few games, he has been kind of occupying more of that midfield role, and that gives an kind of liberty for Maino or Eriksen to go up ahead on the pitch. So that's kind of has worked out really well. I know that Luke Shaw also was doing that before, but yeah,
Mhm.
then again, it comes back to like with Luke Shaw is not going to be our future. I mean, he hasn't been available for at least 30% of the season, so that's why you cannot be dependable on that on Luke Shaw. But yeah, Dallo, he has not been that bad. I mean, he has been, above the average. He has been performing day in day out on above average, and he has been like not a regular left back also. But even this season only he's been playing like that. But yet we don't have any other option. The option we have, he's not available. So we cannot really, talk much about that position.
I think Bruno versus Madison's another interesting battle as well, because obviously both number 10s. Both have been compared before. I'm sure both are looking at this game as an opportunity to really stamp their authority in terms of who's the best. Bruno's obviously had a shocking start to the season. He's got 1 assist in like 6 games in the league. I mean, in 5 league games, I think it is. Obviously got a couple against Barnsley when he came on there, but let's be honest, who didn't get a goal or assist against Barnsley? So I wouldn't really use that as a measuring stick personally, but he needs to step up, doesn't he? I think he's been way below par, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, exactly. At least till the moment Madison joined Tottenham. From that day, if you compare Bruno and Madison, Madison is high above. I mean Bruno in many stats. If you see the stats as well. So the thing is, Bruno with Madison has been more consistent as compared to Bruno Fernandes. But from the very beginning of Bruno's career at United, his role has been kind of a hit and trial thing. Like he just tries everything, and if it clicks out, then he's kind of like the best player in the world. But if it is not working out, then he's kind of the poorest player on the game.
Do you
Uh,
prefer Madison as a player, Dan, personally, or do you prefer Bruno, like stylistically?
Style of a play, I think both of them kind of and on the same stature, the style of play, the both kind of a player does the same job for their own teams. But yeah, with Madison, it seems like he's more controlled as compared to Bruno Fernandes. So Bruno Fernandes, if you will see, he'll be all over the place, all over the ground. But with Madison, you will see that if you give a direction, he'll be there on that particular area. But with Bruno, it's not the same. But skill wise, if you consider, if you take out the form content,
Hmm.
then I think Bruno has more to offer than Madison. But with it's all about the consistency, and where
Yeah,
it is Madison is standing out is on the consistency part.
yeah, I have to agree. That's going to be a fascinating battle. We'll get onto the attack in a minute. Punch Paint saying, I think we keep a clean sheet today. I really don't. I have to disagree with that. I think there's going to be goals in this game. I hope you're right, Punch Paint, but I just don't see it. Andy's saying if we lose today, their attack is Timo and Johnson. I'm going to lose it. Well, they've got the Solanke in there as well, haven't they? I suppose.
Yeah,
But let me have a quick look, because I'm making assumptions here and I don't even know Tottenham's team. So let me pull up Tottenham's team and then we can have a discussion about it. So Vicario, Pedro Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udoge, which we kind of expected. Madison, Benton, Core. Wow, they've got attacking team here.
yeah,
Madison, Benton, Core, Kulusevski, Johnson, Solanke, and Werner. That is a very attacking team.
yeah,
Yeah, they've got one midfielder basically. I know
yeah.
Kulusevski kind of comes in as a 10, and Madison's technically a midfielder as well, but they're going to be pushing right on. The wing backs will be pushing right on. It's going to be like Romero, Van der Ven, and Bentancur basically as their kind of defensive line.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you think there's not goals either side in this, I don't know what to tell you, because that is both teams are attacking, I'd say. So goals fest potentially done.
I think it's going to be an end-to-end game because like Tottenham with all these attacking players, kind of 7 players who are attack-minded. Uh, Minus Bentancur, I think he'll be playing kind of a deeper role, and
Mm,
with the Van der Ven and Romero and Vicario. So apart from that, I think 7 attacking-minded players. I think it's going to be an end-to-end game with Tottenham giving us space towards the wings. Which Garnacho and Rashford will be having a lot to do today. So it's kind of an end-to-end game. I can judge from this lineup, and I think with Kulusevski playing in the midfield role, that's kind of a gamble there.
mm,
Maybe Johnson and Kulusevski will be, switching positions with both of them. But yeah, kind of look like a more kind of attacking than
yeah.
normal what Tottenham is. They sets it up, but yeah, I think they're smelling blood or something.
We have to look at this game as an opportunity for someone like Marcus Rashford to get on the score sheet, don't we? With how high of a line they're going to play. I know they have quick players, like Van der Ven, for example, is one of those who you can play a high line and he beats most people to the ball. Even though he's like 6'5", he's absolutely rapid. But those opportunities, if you time it right, Garnacho and Rashford are going to be so key in this game, and I would expect either one of them to get a goal or assist today. If we don't score against this team, then we really, really have got problems. You know, if you can't score against Tottenham, who could shipped in a load of goals, there's issues. There's glaring issues. So I expect a couple today. I'm just going to switch screens, and we'll go back to the regular screen because we've been through the team lineup pretty much. So we'll switch back to that where we can see our faces nice and lovely and bright. A couple of teams already won today. Dan, well, not today, but over the weekend, we've had Chelsea, who smashed Brighton with a Cole Palmer, who's absolutely flying at the minute. We've got Liverpool, who won. I think Aston Villa are currently winning over Ipswich, unless Ipswich have scored. As far as I'm aware, they're winning. But we had, on the flip side of that, Brighton and Newcastle, who dropped points as well. So a chance to game on those teams, right, today. And Tottenham, of course.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a both... for both of us, I think it's going to be a. I mean, if we lose, I'm not. I'm just thinking about what the. I mean, rumors will be for, against the Ten Hag. So I
Oh
think
my
this is a
God.
win for Ten Hag because the pressure will build up very high.
Yeah.
If we drop points in this game, and same goes for Tottenham as well. But yeah, I think as you mentioned about. I mean, I would like to say about something about Rashford is.
Yeah.
I think this is the game for Rashford because you have seen in the last even before the FC20 game there was a kind of a news which came out like Rashford has looked really sharp in the training, and that could be seen in the FC20 game when he was cutting players and
Yeah.
his skills were working out like nutmegging everyone. So I think if that sharpness is good, I mean sharpness is true, then I think today is the game for Rashford. But yeah, both teams are going head on for this game to get the points, and I think with United has to it's kind of a do or die for United as well because it's whoever wins climbs up the ladder. So
Well,
that's where it stands now.
that you lead me perfectly into my next kind of question and topic that I wanted to kind of sit on for a minute. Either whichever manager loses today, if it's Ange or if it's Ten Hag, the pressure that's going to be on them because both at the moment, I think Spurs are 10th on 7 points. We're 11th on 7 points as well. I think, yeah. So a mid-table clash if you look at it like that. But you know, if they lose, it's going to be so much. I mean, the negativity that's going to be surrounded it because you think with United as well, Dan. The games that we've got next, I mean, Brentford are in good form. Villa are winning nearly every game. Porto away is a tough. Really, I mean, Arsenal struggled against Porto in the Champions League last season. So regardless, whatever form they're in, that's going to be tricky. And then as well in that run, you've got Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce away as well. That's a difficult run, isn't it?
Fred going to be a Ronaldinho on that game, so you have to do something before that. So yeah, at least before, I mean, yeah, the next games with FC Porto and then Brentford is there. So and Aston Villa, I think those 3-4 games are going to be really tough for us. So this, I'm not sure we can even settle for a draw in today's game.
No.
So it's going to be like, I mean, I can feel Ten Hag and on top of it, it's an home game. So because after this, the next two games are away game. So I think you are I mean, you are more prone to lose points, drop points when you are a United fan and you are going away from home. So yeah, I think the next three games, including the today's one, is going to be very crucial, and especially the today's one.
Oh, I hope we win today. I really hope we win today. Punch Pate saying they don't really have a 6 starting. They're going full on attack. And I think that's the deal with the loss of Son. Andy's saying they played the same way against Arsenal. Correct, they did. Craig the Unicorn's going 2-1 Spurs with an early score prediction there. Oh, Villa are drawing now, are they? Oh, interesting. Let me have a look at that. Sorry, I just want to double check. Excuse me. I want to see. Yeah, 2-2, 81st minute. Who scored? The lap again for Ipswich Town. Oh, so Villa could drop points. So even more of a reason then to go on beat them. Absolutely. Delap is legit. The fullback plays so high up. This game is made for Rashford and Garnacho. It's just decision making with them. I totally agree. Old Trafford needs to become a fortress again, and we have the back four to get it done. Lahil Rashid says Ten Hag and Rashford and Bruno are the reason why we are so bad every game. Why is Ahmad on the bench? I think, we kind of touched on it already, didn't we, with Ahmad being on the... I'm a massive Ahmad fan. I mean, the shirt I'm wearing today is on the back of it. I'm a huge believer in him, but I agree with him being dropped today. And he did a similar thing for Liverpool to be fair, because there's space when you play against Liverpool. Whatever team plays a high line and there's space in the wing departments, he'll play Garnacho and Rashford 9 times out of 10. So that makes sense to me personally. But I'm just going to dive in some stats, Dan. Oh, let's
Yeah.
read some out. So Manchester United have won 24 Premier League home games against Tottenham. Only Arsenal have beaten an opponent more often at home in the competition's history, which is 25 versus Everton. So that's a good start to start with. Manchester United lost 7 of their last 19 Premier League home games, won 9, drew 3, including a 3-0 loss to Liverpool in their last match. They had been unbeaten in 20 at Old Trafford before this current run. United have kept 4 clean sheets in their last 6 Premier League games, which is more than they had in their previous 24 combined. However, they've lost both games in which they've conceded during this run. And then the last one for you, Manchester United have the 3rd highest XG in the Premier League this season, but have scored just 5 goals. Only Southampton have a bigger negative difference between their goals and expected goals so far this term. So you can see the glaring issues there, just speaking from a statistical point of view. We're creating a lot of chances, but the finishing's been so frustrating, hasn't it?
Yeah, so that those stats just speaks for itself. So we have like a positive as well as the negative. The positive is like we are keeping clean sheets, and that means we are improving defense wise. But then again, the negative thing is, I mean, we are, I mean, creating chances, but not, um, and we are not just converting them. But I'm also a bit confused. Like, why still Hoyland? I know Xerxes has been playing really good, but then Hoyland is kind of your future striker. Why he's not being started? I know that I can be criticized for saying this, but I would have liked Hoyland to start this game as well, because we need a finisher. We have seen like we are lacking that finishing element in in the previous game. So why not start Hoyland, and just since you have spent so much money and he is having the high potential, but then why you are not I mean, involving him in these kind of just give, and just rather giving him last 10 minutes where he couldn't do anything.
Mm.
So yeah, that finishing the chances, that what, because if you compare Hoyland with Zugzi, who is the better finisher? I think everybody will agree that Hoyland will be the better finisher. But then yeah, I agree that Zugzi, I mean, contributes on creating those chances, but then you need a finisher. I mean, I would like to see Zugzi as a number 10, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you want to see them play together ideally, don't you? Especially with the way Bruno's playing at the moment. I think the thought process behind it is, one, Xerxes had a rhythm of games, hasn't he? Whereas Hoyland's coming back from an injury. The cameos that he's had as a sub, he's not really been able to get into the game. So I also think Xerxes will be dragging the centre backs out as well. He's quite an intelligent player, isn't he? So because Van der Ven and Romero are quite switched on and are quite quick, I think he'll be looking to drag them into certain areas where they don't want to be, and then you can hit a Rashford or you can hit a Garnacho. That's the plan, at least anyway. But the plan never goes to plan, does it, with us? So fuck knows. Who knows? It might not work out. It may end up bringing on Hoyland and Hoyland scores, but ultimately, all I care about is winning. So
one
yeah,
more thing I would like to say: if you are bringing in Hoyland, just give him some time, at least 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
it doesn't matter like when you bring him on for the last 10 minutes, like what you are expecting him to, because when you're seeking for a goal and you are into the last 10 minutes, every time I've seen that United are playing kind of a long balls. Like whenever you get the ball, just put in behind the, then you're not having that passing game at the last 10 minutes. So
yeah.
just bring him at least for 20-25 minutes in the last game, and let him actually bring up his form, because in the last 10 minutes nobody can bring his form up.
Yeah, and we look at our bench today. You've got Hoyland, who you can bring off the bench. You've got Ahmad, who you can bring off the bench.
Yeah,
You've got Mason Mount, who could come on and potentially do something. You've got Christian Eriksen, if you
Eriksen.
need, play between the lines. Casemiro, if you do need to show something up alongside Ugarte, I would say. If
Yeah.
you need to, really shield if you're 2-0 up or whatever, then that could be a potential option. So you've actually got a bit of depth there on the bench, which is nice. We'll move on to talk about Spurs, because we've not really mentioned him yet. We touched on it before. 10th in the league, 7 points, scored 9 goals, conceded 5. I think the same amount as us. We know they play good, quick tempo, attacking, aggressive football. It's intense. They want to keep the ball, build it from the back, press high up to win it back quickly, and then try hit you from those kind of areas. You've seen the full backs, as we touched on at the start of the show, Dan,
Yeah.
support really high up. There's a whole kind of emphasis on them to play fast, exciting football, creative. That's what they want to do, at least. That's the plan also for them. But again, doesn't always work out, and they can be quite naive because they stick with it and they can concede a lot of goals. But when you look at their percentages, and I went through this on the preview, in average, they rank first on possession, crosses into the box, passes into the penalty area, shots on target, and touches in the final third. So actually, their attacking game and creativity is probably right up there with some of the best. But they can be exposed, and we've seen it so many games. It's it, it's kind of like a kryptonite almost for us, because it's like, right, there's the space, go and attack
Mm.
it. But because
Yeah.
we can't convert our chances, it's worth the risk for Spurs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you see their, I mean, their all the games this season, they have hardly kept a clean sheet there, because
Yeah.
that's all tells you, like like they're not like a team who just scores, and I mean they can defend well. So goals are definitely going to come in this game. But yeah, I think Tottenham also are facing kind of a similar problem with like us. They have all the firepowers. They have all the finishers in Son, and then Kulusevski and Madison and the others. Solanke also is looking pretty sharp for them,
Yeah.
but they are not scoring that kind of, I mean, lot of goals. Few goals are coming from the defenders. So that's why kind of a similar kind of a problems they are facing. Like they're creating chances, but their
Yes. Yeah.
finishing is not that great
I
as
think that
compared
was
to, I mean,
evident, Dan,
yeah,
in the first game against Leicester. Was it they played on a Monday Night Football? They just could not. They created so many chances. They had like 20 odd shots and just could not convert them.
yeah. So yeah, that's where, like, I mean, their conversion rate is also less as compared. I mean, not compared, but similar to what
Yeah.
United are facing the issues. So yeah, so goals are definitely going to come in. They'll be, I mean, from the very start itself, they'll be throwing their players into the opponent, that which is our box. But then that again creates a chances for us to put in some counter attacking there. But yeah, so it's going to be a crazy game for, at least as you mentioned about the common fan. I think they'll be getting to
Yeah.
see a real
Oh, they'll be like
fire.
that, popcorn in hand, just ready for something. Like, yeah, absolutely. Who worries you about Spurs? So if you're talking about a key player, who do you see up on that team lineup? You're like, oh, I wish he wasn't playing, because obviously Son's out, so that's like the obvious one. But who else in the team worries you?
Um, I'm actually more scared about the pacey players. So especially Johnson. I think
Mm,
he has given me some scare.
yeah,
But Madison, because the other players, like they how they're going to play. But with Johnson, I think if he bypasses the defense line, it's going to be tough for us to save him. And he's also, I think, playing towards Dallo. I think if Dallo comes in the middle, and he will have the space to just run past the defense line. So I'm more scared about Johnson and Madison. Like he, and also Kulusevski. Like whenever he plays against United, he becomes like, I mean, kind of a star. Like he
mm,
just cuts in 4 or 5 players at one go and just do something. So those 2 3 players I'm really worried about,
yeah,
especially
agreed.
Johnson. Yeah.
James Madison is someone you have to stop as well, pulling the strings. You have to nullify that threat. And if we can do that, we might be all right. Just a couple of quotes coming in from Erik ten Hag. He says, we have to kill games. We're creating a lot of chances, but we don't finish enough. I'm worried when we don't create chances. I know we have players who can finish. We have plenty of good finishers. Well, we've not seen that fucking so far. Ten Hag didn't say that. I said that. On Marcus Rashford, last week he scored 3 goals, so he's in good direction. Now he has to make the last step. And on Bruno Fernandes says, every season it's the same. And at the end of the season, Bruno created the most chances in the Premier League and scored a lot of goals. I'm not worried. When we speak about Bruno as a whole, because Ten Hag saying he's not worried there, but his overall play, it's not just, we're not talking statistics, because that output isn't even there at the moment. We're talking about rushing things constantly. We're talking about a heavy touch on the ball. We're talking about decisions like the free kick at the end of the FC20 game where he's shooting from 40 yards out. They're the kind of things that are annoying fans, isn't it?
Yeah, he's kind of hot-headed at times
Yeah,
when we are dropping points, or we are at the end of a game and we need a goal, and he just tries something out from his own. And a lot of the time, you see, like whenever at the end, I mean, the final third of the game, he just kind of plays a pass, bypassing the defenders, just kind of a wasteful, just losing out on the possession. So that's kind of really concerning for us in terms of when we consider Bruno Fernandes, because we have seen he has the capability. And during his first 2 seasons at United, you have seen a different player, and now you are seeing a different player. So
yeah,
you know that he has in him, but then again, the discipline has to be brought in. I mean, I'm not sure, from the day he became captain, his game is not like that what he used to play before. So maybe could be because of the pressure. And I mean, whenever we are losing games, he just lose everything. I mean, lose his head and just try something out. uh, I think his heat map shows everything. Like if you see his heat map,
Yeah,
you'll
it's
see like
everywhere. It's just a
what
full pitch, red. That's what his heat map is, isn't it?
that that's what that's what brings the difference between him and Madison. Like Madison, you see that heat map, he'll be there at particular position, but with Bruno, he's all over the players, all over
Yeah,
the place, and it's kind of becomes like a chain reaction. So when he loses his place, somebody has to come cover him, and like it becomes like a whole mess on the middle.
yeah,
But yeah, he has to be like I'm not sure what exactly his place is. Is it, does he plays at a number 10 or number 6 or sometimes wingers? That works out at times like when you have to switch positions, but the like whole 90 minutes it's like switching his position. So and also as you not like he is a player who tries every time. Most of the time previously it used to come on at least 5 out of 10 times it used to come well, but now it's like not even one or two is coming well for him whenever he tries. So I think he need to play the football basics right for now. I mean, just to build up that confidence, and then you build from there. So
yeah.
that thing is missing. Just play a simple pass, give to the wingers, involve other players in the game rather than just trying to finish the game on your own.
I'm just going to switch back screens because my camera's decided to piss off. Just 2 seconds. I've got one set up, so we're all right. I knew it was going to go, but yeah, it should be able to see me again, Dan. Can you see me? 1, 2, 3.
It's loading.
1 second. You should see me. Well, you can hear me. That's all that matters. You can still see me
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the screen.
yeah.
Yeah,
Can
right.
hear.
We're all good then. Yeah, just switch screens back because yeah, my camera's decided to be a pain in the backside. But yeah, I agree with your point about Bruno Fernandes there. It's weird, isn't it? Because you feel like all you need for a player who's 30 years old, you still seem like a keen young player trying to impress. Does that make sense? Like he's trying to force it way too much, and you are an experienced player. Like we need more composure and more because what happens is I'm sure if you anyone's taken part in like a team project before or that you're trying to do something as a group, if you've got one guy who's just going off the rails constantly or just moaning about stuff all the time, or that then becomes like the negative energy in the room, and then that affects the rest of the team that are around him. So when you've got youngsters in your side like Garnacho and Kobe and even Ugarte to a certain extent, they're looking at him as the
Yep.
talisman and the main guy and being like, right, we need some inspiration from you now. What are you gonna do? And he takes a shot from 40 yards, or he's arguing with the ref, and you're like, well, how can that be leadership, right?
Yep, yep, exactly. Like you look up to the captain whenever you are in the game, and whenever you're, especially whenever I mean, whenever you're winning, that doesn't matter whether you're looking up to the captain or not. But especially when you're losing the game, and you need to do something, and you need to bring out some. I mean, if you need a goal, then definitely all the players would be looking at to the captain and just to see what we need to do next. But then you see, he's mourning with the players, so it's kind of a what you call in a crybaby. So
Yeah,
that's what the young players are also learning from him. So even you see like now players are more crying than just get on with the game. And so I'm, like it's become like his nature is like that. I'm not sure
yeah.
whether
You can't
I'm,
take it
I'm
out
not
of him.
criticizing.
It's like
I'm not
built
being
in him.
racist, but I've seen more of it from Portuguese players.
Yes. No,
Like
you're right.
footballing
You're
more
right.
often. I'm not
You're
being
absolutely
racist, but
right.
I've seen all my life. I'm been a football watcher.
Ronaldo, Bernardo
Yeah.
Silva. I've seen them all. Yeah, I agree.
So that just shifts the focus from the game. So that's neat. He needs to compare. Like we are comparing him as a captain alongside with the captain as a Wayne Rooney, Roy Keane, Gary Neville, and these Nemanja Vidic. So those kind of players we are comparing him with. And if you compare him, Bruno won't be there in that same bracket when it comes to the leadership qualities. So he has to improve that. I mean, maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, he should be on the top level as a captain. But then you need to see like what needs to be done as a part of a captain. Even though you are losing the game, you have to keep the team sticking to one point and one position, and just at the end of the day, it's just a game. But then you are whatever you are getting from that game as a whole, as a quality wise, that matters for the upcoming games as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's go to the comments then. What we're saying, people. Let's start getting your score predictions in as well. We're going to discuss that in a minute. Imagine having positive goal difference. That's what dreams are made of. It'll be 1-1 at half, and then Ten Hag won't make adjustments. He'll make pointless subs, and we will get dominated in the second half. It's like the people know this team too well. Oh my god. Angie's first game for them against us, he moved his fullbacks wide, and Erik Ten Hag didn't know what to do. Steph says, let's try and be positive. Our defence is solid and looking for a third Premier League clean sheet in a row. Love the positivity as always. So many comments. I thought Leach was started and left-footed elite. Oh, Leacher is starting. Time to tell the truth about Bruno. Villa and Ipswich finished a 2-2 draw. Very interesting. And Andy Williams asking a question here, Dan, saying, is this the best lineup in Erik ten Hag's head, do we reckon? I think... I don't know. The thing is, styles make fights, they say, don't they? And I think it's the same with... It depends what team you're coming up against. But I think if he's going individual for individual, I think the midfield, I think so. He would, on paper, he probably thinks that's our best midfield. The back line, sure, ideally would probably come back into that if he was like fit on a consistent basis. And then the front three, Rashford definitely. And then it's the other two I'm not sure about. I don't know what you make of that. The striker and the right winger.
Yeah, I think in Ten Hag's head, I think Højlund will be the main kind of a more regular kind of a starting player, and Xerxes taking up the bench role. With Ahmad and Garnacho, I think it's going to be switching. I mean, they'll be sharing the game times for the whole season, and with that, I think with Garnacho looks more, reliable, but his strong position is not right. I mean, right wing. So, but yeah, I think Ahmad, with Ahmad, the only thing is like whenever we face kind of a strong team who has kind of a bulky defender, she struggles in that game. So that's where with that, I mean, this physicality of Ahmad has been, I mean, in my opinion, has been a concern for me. But yeah, his gameplay has been really, I mean, after a long time, we have seen kind of a right winger who is that effective in Ahmad. But yeah, with Garnacho, I think he creates a lot of chances for himself as well as for the team, and kind of at least he plays. I mean, whenever he is on, he has at least 2 to 3 shots on goal, so that creates more chances. But yeah, with Ahmad and Garnacho, I think they'll be sharing the game point. But with Rashford, I would like to see him being dropped when he's not in form. So that's what I need from Ten Hag, to take those strong decisions and play Garnacho on the left and Ahmad on the right. But yeah, at the strong front three, I would say would be Rashford, Højlund, and Ahmad. But then with Ahmad and Garnacho, I think they'll be sharing that. But if Garnacho was a right winger, definitely I would have gone with Garnacho. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know the debates. Some people think Garnacho's better on the left, but I remember last season when the first time he played there on the right against Aston Villa when he scored that brace.
I remember.
Very good, very very good. And I like him on the right hand side, but I don't know. This it's still he is. I don't think he knows it at the moment. I think he's trying to find that perfect balance, like I keep kind of alluding to, in the midfield and the attack. So he's still kind of experimenting in certain areas. So I think it'll take a few weeks to kind of iron that out and get some consistency. We've got it with the back line now. We know what the back five is going to be every single game. We need that with midfield and the front three, so you can start working on patterns, start developing that chemistry. And start having that cohesion in the front line in the final phases, because we're really struggling with that at the moment. But yeah, let's look. Before we do dive into the score predictions and stuff, please do smash like on the video, guys, and subscribe to the channel. We're on, I think, 7,013 or something. So if you are new to the channel, you're just tuning in, then yeah, if you enjoy the content, hit us up. And we're going to be live as well after the game. Well, Sam and Chivy are going to be live doing the review, so make sure you join the lads and let them know your thoughts on the game itself. But yeah, Dan, what we're going with today. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, okay? So I'm going to say score prediction. I'm going to say, give me something that may happen in the game. So I don't know, maybe a VAR decision or whatever that you can just see in your mind. And then one person who's going to stand out, do you think?
Should I start with the score?
Whichever you want.
The predictor score. For me, I think it will be 2-1 United. I mean, definitely the goals are there from both the sides, because it's going to be end-to-end game. And I can see one red card here in this game.
Yeah.
Because when you're
Romero or Lissandro, take your pick. One South American. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one red card is definitely there, because it's going to be end-to-end game, and you need those kind of a tackle.
Yeah,
maybe at the end, towards the end of the game, when you are like you're winning and you see opponent going in a scoring moment, and you just tackle him. So that kind of I think I can see that there. From our side, I think Garnacho is going to be a star player, and from Tottenham, it's going to be Johnson.
Okay, I'll take that. I'm going to go 2-2 draw. I think there's goals on either side. I'm going to go with a VAR penalty decision, probably going against us, knowing our luck. And I think someone ridiculous is going to score. I think Timo Werner. I just keep seeing stats about Timo Werner. He's only played 38 minutes so far this season. It's something ridiculous like that'll happen. Werner or Brennan Johnson will end up scoring. I can just see it. So, yeah. Buckle yourselves up. That's one piece of advice. Anyone who's watching, put your seatbelt on because this is going to be a fucking crazy game. It's going to be like traffic in India, Dan. It's just going to be absolutely hectic.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. A random guy with a super chat saying, I have a really good feeling about the game. Good lineup. Well, if you're happy, random, I'm happy. Thank you very much for that super chat. And Craig the Unicorn saying, Xerxes or Mainu in the 10, Ugarte and Casemiro on the double pivot, drop Bruno, Diallo should be starting, Rashford can start, that's fine, but Garnacho comes in for him at the 60th minute. I don't mind that. I don't mind that whatsoever. But let's see. Let's see. We're going to leave it there, guys. So go and enjoy the game. Make sure you join us after it. Sam and Chive, they'll be giving their thoughts. Hopefully we win and it won't be too depressing. So we can talk about something nice. Make sure you go and join them. Check us out on socials for any updates on the game as well. And me and Dan will see you guys in the next one, yeah?